General Hospital will reveal that actor Steve Burton, a familiar face on TV with his role in General Hospital, has recently faced personal turmoil when his ex-wife, Sherry Gustin, repeatedly made negative comments about his new girlfriend, Michelle Lundstrom. Despite Steve's efforts to keep his private life silent and avoid unnecessary controversies, the growing attacks from Sherry forced him to speak out. Sherry not only openly expressed her dislike of Michelle but also resorted to insulting her, even making sarcastic statements on social media, suggesting that Michelle was the third party who intruded into their family life. She didn't hesitate to post cryptic statuses like, "It's funny when someone thinks that just by finding a new woman, they can forget their family and responsibilities. They forget that children can't be replaced." Or even stronger, "One can change their lover, but not the truth. The truth is some people are chasing after shiny things, forgetting who was always there for them in difficult times." Sherry didn't stop at general criticism but bluntly attacked Michelle, implying that she was the reason Steve neglected his role as a father. She insinuated that Michelle had manipulated Steve, causing him to spend less time with the children than before. In a controversial post, Sherry wrote, "Children need a responsible father, not someone who only chases new love and forgets their children." Sherry even directly accused Michelle of being the one to tear the family apart, claiming that since Michelle appeared, Steve had grown more distant from the kids. Some sources revealed that Sherry told friends, "Michelle always tries to keep Steve close to her, she doesn't want him to have time for the kids. She's always clinging to him like she's afraid of losing a toy." These comments quickly spread across forums, sparking heated debates among Steve Burton's fans. Not only did Sherry slander Michelle, but she also repeatedly emphasized that Steve was no longer the devoted father he used to be. She claimed that he often used the excuse of being busy to avoid visiting the children, and when he did have time, he prioritized his girlfriend over his kids. A close friend of Sherry revealed that she once angrily said, "He can fly anywhere with Michelle, spend hours talking to her, but can't spare a whole day to be with his kids." Sherry's criticism not only made Michelle the target of attacks but also indirectly damaged Steve's reputation. The actor had initially wanted to keep peace after the divorce, but as his ex-wife's remarks became more severe, he had no choice but to speak out in defense of his loved ones. In a post believed to be a response to his ex-wife, Steve emphasized, "The truth is not always told correctly. I always try my best to be a good father, and no one has the right to deny that." Sources suggest that Steve had to consult with a lawyer to assess Sherry's behavior and warned her that if she continued to make defamatory statements, he would not hesitate to take legal action. However, his primary concern wasn't the argument with his ex-wife but ensuring peace for himself, Michelle, and the children. Meanwhile, Michelle, although at the center of the criticism, remained silent, not responding to any of the accusations. But with Steve's support and that of those close to her, she would likely not let the slander affect her. The battle between Steve and his ex-wife seems far from over. However, it is clear that Steve is no longer the man who silently endures. He is now ready to defend the woman he loves and draw clear boundaries with those trying to pull him into unnecessary controversies. Since the divorce, Steve has made an effort to fulfill his responsibilities as a father while maintaining a healthy relationship with his ex-family. He frequently arranges time to meet and care for his children, ensuring they are not negatively impacted by the separation. Despite his busy filming schedule and personal projects, Steve has always prioritized family and never neglected his role as a father. However, Sherry's statements not only hurt Michelle but also indirectly affected Steve's reputation in the entertainment industry. Her malicious words caused the public to begin questioning his ethical character, especially when Sherry repeatedly claimed that Steve had completely changed since dating Michelle. She accused him of not spending as much time with the children as before, even ignoring basic fatherly responsibilities. Sherry's veiled statements on social media made many believe that Steve was too absorbed in his new love and had forgotten about his family. Initially, Steve chose to ignore the attacks, believing that time would prove everything. He didn't want to create more waves or drag Michelle into unnecessary public fuss. But as Sherry's statements became more extreme, from personal criticisms to public defamation, Steve could no longer remain silent. The insinuations quickly sparked fierce debates on social media. Some sources even revealed that Sherry had directly messaged Michelle, blatantly blaming her for ruining the family and being the cause of Steve's changes. She accused Michelle of seducing Steve, causing him to distance himself from the kids, and even spread rumors that Michelle controlled all of Steve's decisions, preventing him from seeing the children as much as before. These rumors spread rapidly in the media, damaging Steve's image. At this point, Steve had no choice but to speak up to defend Michelle and himself. He strongly denied all accusations, asserting that Michelle had never interfered in his parenting and that all decisions he made were aimed at ensuring the best for his children. In a firm response, Steve shared on his personal page, "The truth cannot be distorted just because of harsh words. I have always been a responsible father, and no one has the right to deny that." Although Michelle is at the center of the attacks, she remained silent and did not respond to any accusations from Sherry. However, this silence did not mean that she wasn't hurt. The slander and insults from Steve's ex-wife turned Michelle into a target for public criticism, but with Steve's strong support, she would not allow these baseless rumors to affect her relationship with him. In the past, Steve Burton had always maintained respect for his ex-wife, even when he discovered that she had betrayed him during their marriage. The news that Sherry Gustin was pregnant with another man's child while still married to Steve was a huge shock to the actor. Their more than 2-decade-long marriage collapsed suddenly, but instead of expressing anger or publicly criticizing her, Steve chose to remain silent. He didn't want to air personal issues in public, nor did he want the children to be affected by their parents' conflicts. For him, the most important thing was to protect the peace for his children and not let personal turmoil harm them. Even though he had been betrayed and hurt deeply, Steve showed maturity and civility in how he handled the divorce. He focused entirely on his work and fatherly duties, making sure his children didn't feel emotionally neglected. Even when he knew his ex-wife had moved on, Steve remained composed, not speaking out against or slandering Sherry in public. He understood that what had happened was in the past and didn't want to engage in endless arguments. However, Steve's patience was gradually tested when Sherry started publicly attacking him. Not only did she make insinuations about him being an irresponsible father, but Sherry also didn't hold back from insulting Michelle Lundstrom, Steve's current girlfriend. Initially, the actor kept silent, hoping the controversies would die down. But when Sherry's statements became harsher and affected his reputation in the entertainment industry, Steve couldn't ignore them any longer. Rumors from Sherry began to appear more frequently on forums and social media, sparking debates about Steve's moral character. Some tabloid posts even claimed that Steve had truly changed since dating Michelle, that he was no longer the dedicated father he once was. These accusations started to affect Steve's image in the public eye and threatened his career. For someone working in the entertainment industry, reputation is the most important factor, and Steve understood that if he didn't act quickly, these slanders could have long-lasting consequences. According to some close sources, Steve had started considering legal action to deal with the harmful statements from his ex-wife. He had contacted his legal team to assess the impact of Sherry's defamation and was considering the possibility of suing her if she continued making statements that harmed his reputation and Michelle's. This was a firm move that he had never previously considered, but the situation had gone too far to resolve with silence. Additionally, there are reports that Steve directly warned Sherry, demanding that she stop making negative comments or face legal consequences. He didn't want personal matters to become a media topic, but if Sherry continued defaming him, he was ready to use the law to protect himself and Michelle. This was the first time Steve showed firmness in responding to his ex-wife's negative actions, signaling that he would no longer tolerate being dragged into unnecessary conflicts. Despite the ongoing controversy, the most important thing for Steve now is not the battle with his ex-wife but protecting his loved ones and ensuring his personal life is not disturbed by unnecessary scandals. The conflict between Steve and Sherry may not be over yet, and the rivalry continues, but Steve seems to have found his own path. He doesn't want to spend too much time on negativity and instead focuses on his future and happiness. Although the fight between Steve and his ex-wife still rages on, his fans hope that everything will eventually settle down and that the actor will find peace in his life. They wish him a stable career, a happy family, and an end to being dragged into unnecessary conflicts. With everything he's been through, what fans want most is for Steve to have a fulfilling life, where he can continue pursuing his acting passion without being affected by the controversies surrounding his personal life.